On this episode, we read First Love, Wild Love by Madeline Baker and Carved in Stone by Kathleen Eagle. While there is no non-consensual sex in either book, First Love, Wild Love includes a lot of harmful stereotypes of Native Americans. It does include an attempted rape, and off-screen there's atrocities committed against civilians, which are not really depicted, but might be very distressing for some readers. We're going to be talking about the context of racism in romances, and so if that's something that you don't want to listen to, you might want to skip this one. After we talk about, though, Kathleen Eagle's book, Carved in Stone, does not have any of that troubling content. So if you want to skip to the halfway point, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, here we go.
Hey y'all, we have news.
It's really exciting.
Yay!
Yay! So, Bodice Tipplers is now a part of the Frolic Podcast Network. That's a podcast community of everything romance and romance-related. If you can find all their podcasts at frolic.media/podcasts.
I know, it's super exciting. There's some awesome other podcasts that are part of it. There's Womance, which is super fun. It's a weekly podcast about romance novels, moments, ourselves, and convoluted orgasm metaphors. So, who doesn't love a convoluted orgasm metaphor?
I've been listening to all of our fellow podcasts on Frolic also, and I really like the Turn On.
Yeah.
It's these two really smart, really cool African-American ladies who are reading erotica. And the episode I listened to is actually, they were reading the Song of Solomon. For the Bible, and it was delightful, and I really enjoyed it. Actually, I kind of hope that they at some point do a conference that we all have to go to, so I can meet these really cool people. I think that'd be super fun.
I also like big gay fiction podcasts.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
Yeah, so they look at gay romance fiction. So there's lots of content. Again, Frolic Media. Check it out.
And so what this will mean for you, our listener, not much. It does mean that eventually we will probably start running some promos and ads.
When we make it big time.
Yeah, podcast millionaires.
Yeah.
But we do get a veto on those. So I want you to be able to trust that we are not going to run something that we don't like. So just, you can still trust us. We have not sold out to the man.
I like that you think people would think that we sold out to the man. Yeah, I'd sell out to the man super fast.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't take much either.
I would really just be like, bye, the man has me now. I am sold out. So.
But I would tell you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, lie about it.
That's true.
I think
we've sold out. But we haven't sold out yet. We're waiting for the right moment to sell out.
Yeah, we're waiting for that dump truck full of money.
Yeah.
It's going to be delicious.
Yes, so good. All right, so what have you been up to, Miss Sarah?
Funny story. I went to Thanksgiving at my 5-year-old kindergartner's school a couple days ago.
Yes.
Yeah, it was at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is when you like to eat lunch. And we brought our $3.75 in cash. And, okay, so I expected, it being the year 2019, that it would be, just more focused on just the idea of thankfulness and gratitude, or that they would have softened a lot of the stuff that we did in the 80s, which was hella fucking racist.
Yeah.
They didn't. No, I got, my first hint, in the morning, it's freezing here. I mean, it's not freezing like it is. It was 27 degrees at the bus stop.
Yeah, it's
and I thought
not
we were gonna
Chicago
die.
cold. I'm sure people in the Midwest are like, these two bitches need to shut up with your 40 degree weather or your 20s. But yeah, it's been cold. So
yeah,
continue.
so I was telling him that he had to wear a sweater and a coat, and he says no, he couldn't wear a sweater because he has to wear when he gets to school, he has to put on his Indian shirt. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it got a lot worse. So I got there, and I missed the song because I was in line paying. I don't know what was in the song, but I know that all these little kids were wearing construction paper headbands with construction paper feathers in them. They all had their quote-unquote Indian names on them. Evidently, my son is Chief Wise Words, which isn't even true unless by wise words you mean, tinkle, tinkle, toot.
That's your next tattoo is Chief Wise Words.
Yeah.
Oh.
And, I mean, they had, the shirts were, some of the kids were wearing vests that were made out of grocery bags.
Was it the brown shirts with, the cut with,
yes,
the fringe?
Yes, it was, originally a white t-shirt that they had cut fringe into. Yeah. Some of them were wearing grocery bag vests.
Grocery bags. The grocery bag vest was big when I was in school.
The whole thing. That. I wasn't sure if a different grade was the Pilgrims or... okay, I know that it was entire classes, so it's not that they just picked the most Aryan-looking kids to put in the pilgrim outfits, but it sure did look like it. Yeah. I was like, oh my god, Edla, please don't sit with the Hitler Youth baby. The whole thing was really, really upsetting. But, so I did not, like, rage against the machine there, because I knew that wouldn't do any good. Yeah. So I went home, I very carefully collected my thoughts. It's clearly a whole school thing, so I wrote an email to the principal with citations and suggestions from education journals on how you do this properly. And, you know, so I explained, you don't use important ritual elements of a people in a trivial manner. Like, eagle feather headdresses are really serious. Right. To certain tribes, and you just don't do that. B, like, names are very important. Yeah. Like, you don't trivialize those things. But of course, the biggest thing that they're doing is being so nonspecific. Like, they're just, like, you know, using the word Indian, like, not even Native American, but Indian as just, you know, just this general plains tribe, which is funny because in 1620 there weren't even horses. Like, the Sioux didn't get horses until the 18th century. It's everything about it is upsetting. But you know, I wouldn't have minded nearly as much if they had been talking about specifically Plymouth and, you know, like, specifically those people, the Wampanoag, like, their customs and their traditional dress and things like that. But no, it was literally. And yesterday, I was there volunteering, and I don't know what was going on in one classroom, but I looked through the window, and I saw a bunch of teepees, and the kids were crawling in and out of them. Lord. Yeah, it was bad. So I wrote this very careful email in which I explained that I'm sure that this is something they've been doing since the 80s. How has nobody else complained? I don't know. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, am I the only... Now, this is South Carolina. We're here on land, you know, stolen from the Cherokee and the Catawba. There are not many Native Americans here in this part of South Carolina. There's a reservation up near Rock Hill, but there, like Columbia, there just aren't very many people left here because of what we did. Right. So I think that's a major part of why nobody's complained. But I'm complaining. I'm meeting with the principal. Ideally, because I haven't heard back from him. But that's what's going on here, like, today in 2019. I was shocked. So I think that's a good segue into why we're doing this super special. Yeah, so, okay, we are doing a super special. This was originally supposed to be 2 different episodes. But really thinking about it, we decided that what we needed to do was, rather than treating Madeline Baker's First Love, Wild Love with our kind of typical flippant tone that we do, that we are going to talk about that book in the context of the larger Native American or Indian romance subgenre. So the first half of this is going to be a little bit more academic, and then the second half, once we get back from break, is going to be 2 bitches drinking wine and talking about Kathleen Eagle's amazing Carved in Stone. Yeah, so there is a great book in this podcast, which you're going to love. Yeah. So we're holding out for the end. So yeah, like, I was really thinking about it, and, you know, last year we talked about Savage Ecstasy by Janelle Taylor, and for me, like, thinking about it, and, like, in the year that we've been doing this and, like, getting to know romance authors and romance readers of color, I don't think that I would do that. Like, if I could go back, I don't think I would do that. Because, you know, as just a white lady, and I try to think that I'm a fairly, like, with it white lady, there's a lot of shit that I just take for granted. And I took for granted that I was like, oh, this is a racist book, but it's also nonsense. And these books, yeah, you have to judge them individually, but as a whole, like, as this genre, like, to me, they're all now in, like, a just, like, no-fly zone because of the Native American or the Indian subgenre. Like, that it still exists. Just like, you know, brown paper bag books exist in 2019. It's wild that these books still exist. I guess that's also my bubble, honestly, because I don't want to say I travel in woke circles, but honestly, I was absolutely shocked, and so was all, like, the people at work that I work with. They were just blown away by it too, because we all kind of, I think, make certain assumptions of where we are in the year 2019. Well, it turns out we ain't there. Yeah. You know, and I was surprised. I was also surprised by the 2016 election, because in my bubble, did not realize that there were that many racists still around. It's, you know, same thing. It's that kind of thing where, again, as white women, you just have to, like, realize when you're wrong, realize when you don't understand something completely, and things like, again, in your bubble,
you think, oh, everything is a certain way, and you have those wake-up moments. And this was a wake-up moment for me. So, again, moving forward, I'm going to give you guys kind of the history of this subgenre. It's not to legitimize it, because these books are racist as shit. They're fucking racist. It's built on the backs of millions of people who were either displaced or killed. Like, even these women who write, and it's, again, largely women and largely white women who are writing these books, even the ones that have good intentions, even the ones that are doing research, they're still romanticizing a time period or even events that were real world atrocities for people. Like, these had real world consequences. So, you know, even though Madeline Baker's First Love, Wild Love, the main character, isn't presented in the kind of way that a lot of these men are, where they're, you know, warriors that go and steal a white woman, it's still inherently racist because, again, you're making money off of genocide.
Well, and in other ways, I do think it can be more harmful, just because that kind of soft-focused, good intentions, like a noble savage stereotyping, because it seems, because it's well-intentioned, I think it can be more insidious and kind of sneak in on you, whereas, like, the more, like, the kind of thing where, like, you know, they come in and the Braves steal a white settler, and then it's all this business, that you can tell that that's, like, just off the top of your head racist.
I mean, again, I don't know. Like, they're all just...
It's all bad. I'm just saying that I think that this idea is more culturally insidious. And that obviously it still definitely, you know, perpetuates, because I'm sure that everybody at my kid's school thought that Indian name thing, like, they were all positive.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a bunch of, you know, like, there were, like a bunch of kids, it was all positive associations, like, you know, words and animals that are good words and animals. It's just that you can't do that.
Again, fucking good intentions. Yeah. Okay, so I have on our website, there is kind of an essay that I wrote about this, and it's got, like, you know, a bibliography with people who know more about this, like their information that you can look at. So these novels kind of are part and parcel with, like, Middle Eastern or desert romances. Both of them usually feature a white woman who falls in love with someone who's defined as other. So an other, it means someone of, like, we'll get into that a little bit, like, we're going to talk a little bit about color. So a woman named Jessica Taylor wrote this article, and you can call me Chic. She notes that the men in the novels are kind of in-between features. They're dark and desirable, but they're not too dark. They're masculine and powerful, but yet they're willing to surrender to love. So this kind of expands on the general premise, especially of early romance novels, where these white heroes were described as being, like, in the beginning, like, they were kind of called dark. And then at the end, they're pale and trembling with love. You know, they're kind of treated in this animalistic way. So the first real book that we're going to look at that kind of begins this genre is James Fenimore Cooper's The Last of the Mohicans. So it's written in 1826, and it's set during the French and Indian War. Our central character, Natty Bumppo, or Hawkeye, is depicted, he's kind of a cultural hybrid. So he's purely white, but he can speak several native dialects. His adopted family is Chincocook and Uncas. They're Mohicans. So he skirts the line of this other. But he gets to be socially acceptable.
And so many of these books do that. Actually, I'm surprised that neither of the kind of racist Native American books that we've read, both of them have heroes who are actually Native American. Yeah. Like, because it's super common for there actually, and that Joanna Lindsay Chic book that we read, like, he's half, his mother was like, English. They usually sneak it out like that. Either they're biracial, or, like, sometimes, like, he'll have been, like, a boy who was, like, captured as a child, so he is culturally Native American, but it's not actually an interracial romance, which is even worse, in some ways.
Okay, so also in Last of the Mohicans, we have other evidence of, like, color and the perception of color, and you can see it in the Monroe sisters. So Alice Monroe is described as surprisingly fair. She's innocent and childlike. You know, she's constant need of rescue, always being rescued. And Cooper describes her as being, like, some beautiful emblem of wounded delicacy of her sex. Now, her sister Cora, this is her half-sister. Her mother was a West Indian woman, and so Cora is described in the book as a quadroon. She stands up to the Huron people, acts as her sister's protector just as fiercely as the men do, and this kind of sets them in direct contrast. So you have light and dark, feminine, unfeminine, pure, tainted. So ultimately, Cora, even though she's the bigger badass, she dies, and Alice gets to live. And so we really see kind of that color issue.
They fix it in the movie, at least.
No, yeah, but they changed their characters a lot. Like,
I would have liked to have seen a biracial Cora. That would have been great.
And the other interesting thing about it, so in the book, like, Uncas and Duncan are in love with Cora. Now, Duncan in the book is a Southern colonist. Now, they can never get married because, I mean, it could never have been a happy ending for them because, you know, she is descended from a slaveholding region. He lives in a slaveholding region. You can't do, they're not going to do that and set it up to where people will be like, hey, maybe this is a, like, institution is wrong. So, all right, so we're going to move to 1884, and this came out about 35 years before The Sheik, is Helen Hunt Jackson's Ramona. So it's a fictional account of the mistreatment of Native Americans in California. So what she wanted to do was she basically wanted to create an Uncle Tom's Cabin, but for Native Americans. She wanted people to become aroused and, like, angry on the behalf of the way that Native Americans are treated. People love the shit out of this book. It has never been out of print, and, like, they've made 4 different movies about it. There's, like, a whole tourist industry built around it. But people love it because of the adventure. They love this whole, like, idea of, like, Spanish colonial rule in California. Ramona is described, she's half Native American and I think like half Scots-Irish. She's got dark hair and blue eyes. And when it came out, people, like contemporary reviewers were like, she was too perfect and too beautiful to really be Native American, is like what the reviews said.
I think it's interesting that people often miss the mark in those 19th century activist novels.
Yeah.
Because, like, the jungle was supposed to be, like, a labor thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You were supposed to care about the people who were working there, and instead they're like, oh, my God, we need to form the FDA because there's fingers in the sausage.
Yeah.
Instead of, who did the finger come off of, and why did this person have to work here?
Exactly.
Same thing, right?
Yeah. So, the 20th century, you get a lot of Western books that portray love between Native Americans and white settlers. So, you have Zane Grey's 1925 book, The Vanishing American. And then you have Nakoa's Woman, and that was published in 1972, the same year as The Flame and the Flower. And it has got a very flowery description. This is by Gail Rogers. It's summarized as the tale of a beautiful white girl who is captured by the Blackfoot Indian warrior Nakoa, and of their stormy relationship as she struggles against her growing love for her captor, and he struggles against the customs of his people. A large cast of vivid characters surrounds the young lovers as they work out their fates. So basically, this becomes the formula that we see for decades.
And of course, like, there were extremely popular real captivity narratives.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, people who actually literally were captured and you know, at some point came back and wrote, and then some of them were completely also made up.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, that it's been incredibly as a popular, like, literary form, so, like, you know, in America for a long time. So you got to think about that, you know.
So the other interesting thing,
too.
like, so we talked about this a little bit, like what is it about this specific group? So Jessica Spears talks about the acceptability of interracial relationships between white women and Native Americans and Arab sheiks. Like why we can have those, but while in romance novels, but why we can't have white women and black men. So a researcher, Teo, she theorizes that black American men are not presumed to possess the same exotic cachet and riches to sweep a woman off her feet. She also explains that white women will likely encounter black men, but the chances of meeting, like, let's say, a sheik are slim. Sean Nixon, he seconds this idea in his book called Exhibiting Masculinity. He discusses why Native American or Middle Eastern skin may be more acceptable than black skin. He looked at an ad campaign that went from like 1985 to 1987 for fashion, and he suggests that like models that had light that are lighter skinned, they express hypermasculinity, but they're saying it's tempered by his fairness. So light brown skin provides just the right amount of savagery or exotic. So the other thing that's crazy about these books is, like, so you do have some of them, especially like First Love, Wild Love, that have an actual interracial couple. Like, there is an interracial couple in this book. That is not reflected on the cover. The covers are white men with a veneer of exoticism. So their skin has been actually darkened by a painter. And they would use these well-known models for their covers. So like Fabio, Steve Sandalis, and John DeSalvo. So they basically are creating blackface. So one example of this is another one of these Madeline Baker books called Comanche Flame. And it's got Fabio on it just with like a black wig and like his skin all tanned up. Mm-hmm. This other guy, Steve Sandalis, the Topaz Man, like he was like in 1993, Penguin launches Topaz, which is romance novels. The marketing team chose this one model to be the Topaz Man, and he made store appearances, had like his own merchandise and calendars.
We have to see if we can find one of those calendars.
Yeah, and so like he's listed, Madeline Baker has a list of her models, and he's listed on there too. And again, he is not Native American. The same with John DeSalvo. And, you know, you can't really, you know, I don't want to generalize, but if you look at the cover of First Love, Wild Love, this is what appears to be a Caucasian man with just
and he's got a smirk on his face too.
Just a Native American headdress.
There's something else about this cover that I think is really interesting, and I'm not sure if you would get in an equivalent book that was not about a Native American, and that it's got this really steamy clinch cover. Yeah. So I thought this was going to be like doing it garbage trash.
Yeah.
But in fact, it's actually this very sweet. I mean, there is sex in it, but it's this kind of very sweet-natured romance.
Right.
In other words, the cover is way sexed up, and I wonder if that is specifically because it's got interracial content.
All of her
you know,
cover,
if they would have done that for a cowboy, you know, or if they would have done that for a Highlander or whatever, you know.
Yeah. So again, this is just kind of an overview, and there are people, and that's who we're going to be talking about next. Like, there were people that were kind of fighting against this. So, like, Kathleen Eagle, in 1986, you know, the Romance Writer Reports, like, wrote an article, like, warning people against, like, using these stereotypes. And the book that she writes deals a lot with this stereotype, and we'll discuss that later. And again, like, it's just crazy. People still, like, in spite of this, like, most of these books have savage, warrior, wild, you know, all these kind of, like, animal comparisons.
Janelle Taylor actually wrote one also called First Love, Wild Love.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, and, like, you know, you have Janelle Taylor who had the
savage...
whole
never, you know, thought
she
of that
had a
title.
Savage series, and I believe it's Cassie Edwards that had,
yes.
like, the Savage series. And then, you know, the other problematic thing with this is Cassie Edwards, you know, was found out for plagiarizing large swaths of, like, Native American scholarship.
Like, actual words of Native American people, and she made money off them.
Yeah.
It's sick.
You know, and that, again, for almost 10 years, the Romantic Times gave an award for Best Indian Romance. Mm-hmm. So really, it's, you know, again, this fetishization of this group of individuals. And so, again, that's, I think, one of the reasons that we decided, again, to kind of look at this book, this Madeline Baker book, as an overview rather than, like, delving into it. The other thing that's wild is you go to Madeline Baker's website, and the very first thing that you see is a Native American named Eddie Little Sky that she saw dancing at Disneyland. He's an actor. He had been hired at Disneyland to, like, ride a horse and do some wild shit, you know, in, like Western land or whatever. So she sees this man.
Frontierland.
She has this man, sees this man, develops a crush on him, and that's why she started writing. You know, she was a housewife, had 3 kids. While her kids were at home, she started writing these books, and I think the first one was published in, I think, like 1984. So, and it's just wild to me.
Well, and I think it's interesting to discuss, like, is it possible for a white woman to write a historical romance with a Native American character and not have any of that sort of noble savage stereotype sneak in?
Again, for me, I don't think my whole problem with it, again, is, like, even if you have the best of intentions, even if you have these you've researched it, you've gone against the stereotype, it's this idea of creating something on the backdrop of what was actually happening to people. That, for me, is what I find the most of. Like, it's this, you know, I can't remember the name of it. There's one, I think, that just came out, and there was one that came out 2 years ago where a romance author wrote a novel about a Jewish woman falling in love with, like, a Nazi officer.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah.
And I feel like it's this very, like, they're very similar.
You can't ever do that.
You know, because, again, we're talking about genocide. We're talking about displacement. We're talking about doing like real world horrible things to people. And so to me, it's like, again, even if you go into it with good intentions, like the whole genre, like because it's part of that genre, I'm just like, no thanks.
And see, for me, what I thought was kind of interesting about that question with this book is that, for one thing, this bothered me more than Savage Ecstasy because it was much better written.
Yeah.
I mean, Savage Ecstasy was just a piece of crap and we can make fun of it. This, I actually read it in like, I tore through this book in like 2 days. It's much better written. I was like I cared about these characters. Yeah. But okay, so the problem with like a stereotype like the noble savage is that it seems like all stereotypes are harmful, even if it seems like a positive stereotype because it reduces a person to, but so he's thinly drawn. And that's an issue. But everybody is in this book because she's just not very good at writing, I think. Like, compelling human characters. But, of course, like, the heroine being thinly drawn isn't, like, a consequence of centuries of oppression.
Right.
Whereas him being thinly drawn kind of is.
Yeah. And
so, I think that maybe it would be possible for a white person to write a contemporary romance.
Yeah.
But not with this 19th century backdrop.
And, again, I feel like
this guy's riding with Crazy Horse.
Yeah,
this guy.
With Crazy Horse.
They're out in the woods fucking when the soldiers came.
Custer and,
when the army comes and slaughters all the women and children in the village.
Yeah,
And
it's just sort of like the other crazy thing about that is just again shows her kind of whiteness. Her like the character that she writes is this man's entire group of people were slaughtered, and the girlfriend or the female character is just like, well, you got me, don't be sad, like it's just kind of this kind of insensitive treatment to it that because of their love that makes it okay for everything that's happened to him and his people.
And in the end, he has to change and she doesn't. She ends up inheriting the farm. And she can tell she's pregnant, and that he's very restless, that he wants to go back to his nomadic lifestyle, but he ends up staying for her on this farm, and he's like, anyway, this ought to be this is my people's freaking land. This is in the Black Hills of South Dakota.
Yeah,
and she's like, well, but we're rich now. Don't you get that? And I thought it was actually a really realistic argument that a married couple would in fact have, but of course you knew that he wasn't going to win it because what space is there in this world for him?
Yeah.
Where would they go? What would they do?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting discussions to be had about what is possible in this kind of like. Can we take this idea? Can we fix this idea? Because I don't know.
Like, for me, there's
we just dump in the trash.
Yeah, like, to me, it's just, like, the whole genre is trash because, like I said, can you live in a world where you imagine a whole genre of Holocaust romance novels?
Or slavery romance novels.
Because
you don't see that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's the same thing, and yeah.
I mean, people are drawn to it because it's an exciting period. War and genocide at all is exciting in history.
And I probably, as a kid, because, again, we talk about books that we would have read as a kid, I would have loved it because of the covers. I would have loved this whole idea of, a Native American because it was wild and adventurous, and I think that's a lot of the draw that people have. But, again, like we said, the danger of it is this mass generalization that's happening.
And this is your best possible one because it is well researched.
Yeah,
it's not a captivity one.
Nobody's got an animal name and just an animal name. They're using actual Lakota word names. So
he is not Red Wolf. He's a Shin. I'm sorry, I don't have it right in front of me. Shinkanhana. I've got to screw that up, and I apologize. I had notes, but I read this a while ago. So it's well researched. It's not that fakey fake stuff, and that's one reason I would have really loved it as a kid too, because I would have felt that I was learning something about know.
And again, it's not to say that it's. I think obviously some of them are more harmful than others, and. Again, it's a trash genre. It's a trash genre. And, one of the interesting things, I can't remember who was on Twitter was talking about, she wanted to look at an essay or an examination of kind of your Sword, the combination that's especially been happening of your Sword and Planet books. as a replacement. Like,
yeah,
they've replaced,
that's your way to get around this.
Yeah, like, I'll just put them on, a different planet.
Or time travel. That's your other way. Because I want to meet somebody savage. So who you end up meeting is Prince Adam. Well, I guess, honestly, that's fine. Because Prince Adam has not been historically oppressed by white people.
So, again, I think it's a really complicated genre. And I have to thank the people at the Brown Pop Culture Library. Because they have a really good exhibit, and it's on their Twitter, about these books. So they were really helpful in kind of sussing it out.
So we won't be reading any more of those. We may. I'm not saying that we won't read something that that has a Native American character, but we're not reading this kind of like. This wasn't Captivity, but like this thing with a guy with feathers in his hair on the cover,
with a white guy
that is like 19th century specifically,
right?
And she's we're not going to read this particular.
Brand of book.
Again.
Now I'll read a Kathleen Eagle book all goddamn
I want to
day.
read some more of those. You're gonna love this Kathleen Eagle business. It's like super great, and I love her like a lot now.
Yes.
So we promised you 2 episodes this month, and instead, we just didn't want to spend like a whole hour talking about this book as if even though of course we were going to talk about the racism in this book, obviously. Though because the way that we did last time. And actually, like last year, I still think that we have a good post.
You do have a good list. There is a good list if you go and look for some Native author books, and we'll have some more up, and we'll make sure that like we feature them on our social media and stuff too.
And we did a good Spotify playlist last year, which I'll link it in the post here, with contemporary Native American musicians. So it's not just, some of it, of course, is like more historically informed, but like it's more like there's some metal stuff, there's some like love songs, some hip hop. So like, you should give that a listen too, because, I still think that some parts of that stuff hold up, but we won't be doing a ha 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 in the same way. We won't do this again. Right.
And after the break, we're going to talk about Big Dick Energy and Kathleen Eagle's Carved in Stone.
Also, your wine aunt in a Jeep. It's going to be great.
Hi there, this is Sarah Wendell from Smart Podcast Trashy Books, and like the marvelous Bodice Tipplers, we are part of the Frolic Podcast Network. If you are looking for shows like this one that are fabulous, funny, and thought-provoking, head over to frolic.media/podcasts, where you will find a collection of the most innovative, interesting, and entertaining podcasts in romance. That's frolic.media/podcasts. See you there.
And we're back.
Yay, we're back.
So before we do anything else, we have actually got a couple people sign up for our Patreon.
Woo, Patreon! People actually are giving some money. Like, it's not just sad and sitting there at zero. So
I know.
Thank you for, like, not having us at $0.
Oh, I was definitely going to get, like, a family member if I had to.
Oh, my God. I was, like, signed up, like, made a fake name.
Yeah.
Like...
Schmera McSchmide.
Like Elizabeth Bettencourt, like, something like that.
So yours is way better than mine.
So the first one that we have to thank is my brother-in-law. Thank you, Daniel Rounds, brother-in-law. His shout-out is that he wants everyone to know that he is the best of the Rounds brothers. So he certainly is the best.
I've never met any of them, but I'm going to vote.
Well, you've met one. You've met Christopher.
Well, yeah, but none of his... Yeah. That doesn't count. He's like Alpha.
Yeah.
The Alpha brother. And then I don't know any of the other ones.
That's hilarious because the Alpha brother is David. David, if you're listening, you need to give us like $2 so you can take the place as like the Rounds brother.
Yeah, that's a special price point for you.
I mean, none of them are really Alpha. They're all just like... They're great. So, yeah. So that was from Dan Rounds. Dan, best of the Rounds brothers. And then we have one from John Kynard. And his Patreon shout-out is... letting us know, wanting the people to know that Liberace had Salminio killed.
No, I thought he wanted you to know that Liberace killed Salminio himself.
It could be either way. He'll have to expand.
Yeah,
all right, so we'll say another $1. We'll be like, Liberace killed Salminio. Liberace had Salminio killed. So you got 2.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're wondering what all this is about, you, too, can have us say anything that you want us to say on this podcast. We will propose to your boyfriend. We will propose to your girlfriend. We will tell your mother Happy Mother's Day. I don't necessarily recommend that one, depending on whatever book we're doing in May, but it could happen. And the way that you do that is you get a shout-out for any level of donation to Patreon.
We're cheap.
Yeah, so just $1 a month.
$12.
Yeah. A whole year. You can get So if you go to patreon.com/bodystipplers, $1 will get you a shout out, and then you just tell us what you want us to say. If you want to give more, we have more cool things. $5 gets you that and a sticker. You know, if you go,
I love a sticker.
Yeah, if you give even more, there's a cute tote bag that we're doing. A tote bag. That'd be terrible. A tote bag.
Gotta love a tote bag.
And if you give enough, we'll even do whatever book you want us to do for our podcast. But we won't do another one of these Native American romances.
Don't ask me for don't ask me for Comanche Flame or something.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. No more Janelle Taylor.
No.
So other than that, we'll do whatever you want us to do because we are whores for money.
We really are. Again, as soon as we can sell out to the man.
We will sell it to you personally. Yeah. Give it a try. So what else are we reading and listening to and doing in our lives?
So I just got done watching the series Daybreak on Netflix. I think it's based off of a graphic novel. It's about these teens. So it's in California, and this bomb goes off, and it kills all of the adults, and all that's left are teens. And you come to find out that the reason that all the adults become kind of these weird zombies is that the teens who have gotten the HPV vaccination are immune to whatever this
well, I got the HPV vaccine.
Yeah, the biodegradable or the biowarfare. There's a teacher named Miss Crumble that she is kind of this interesting character that she's kind of half zombie, half person. It's a really fun series. The main character is your typical white boring dude, but everybody else in it is fantastic. His friends are awesome, and I really enjoyed it and watched it in just a week. So,
well, this is thematic. This is not what I've just read recently, but this year, for some reason, I've been really reading a lot of post-apocalyptic books written by indigenous people. Not on purpose, not because I wanted to read just a stack of books on the same kind of concept, but and they're all very different. So I read Moon of the Crusted Snow. I read The Marrow Thieves, but my favorite one that I read earlier this year is Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. And she is Navajo, and in this a climate apocalypse has happened, but the Navajo people built a wall. So yeah, good for them. Which is the only reasonable response, I guess, at this point, is to build your own wall. But so it's a fantasy apocalypse, and all the magic in it is native. It has an entirely native magic system. Everybody in it is Native American. It's fantastic, and I did not realize that the second one had come out, but evidently it has. So I'm going to put that on my reading list, and it is just really good. And if you like that kind of thing, you will really like it. And, not that, I didn't, kind of mean necessarily to do this, whole, look, I read diverse books. But as a reader's advisory librarian, it is really important to me to try to read as diversely as I can. I've also been listening to this podcast lately. It's called All My Relations. And both of the hosts are also Native American. And this is a lead-in to the book because they were talking in their podcast, the episode that was about cultural appropriation. It's kind of around Halloween, Yeah. About, and I had not thought about it in these terms. Of course, I thought with these books that we were just talking about, the stereotypes, the noble savage, that they're well-intentioned but also incredibly harmful. But I had not considered the problem of time in these stereotypes. And they say, and I've not tried this, but I believe them, that if you Google image search other oppressed groups in America, if you Google image search African American, you get contemporary families who are smiling and laughing and going to barbecues together and playing volleyball. It's great. If you Google image search Latinx, you get maps. But if you do it with Hispanic, you get laughing families. If you do it with Native American, you only get historical images. Yeah. So the stereotype of Native Americans as not being a contemporary people is its own kind of harmfulness, and it's exactly the kind of harmfulness that you see, of course, at my son's Thanksgiving thing. Yeah. We're thinking, actually, there's a Catawba Cultural Center up in Rock Hill.
Yeah, I've been to I used to volunteer. I had a friend who...
Oh, really?
I have a friend who was... part of the tribe there, so used to do stuff.
We would like to take them up there as kind of counter programming to meet current contemporary live people who live.
They have a really good. I can't remember when it is. A couple of years they do a big festival, and they have it's really well done. I would suggest finding out when that is and go to that.
That would be fantastic.
But
I mean, I think that's like relevant to this book that we're reading, which is Carved in Stone by Kathleen Eagle.
So, Carved in Stone. Before we get started, what
are we drinking? Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I did this out of order. So, I had a hard time. I was actually picking this out for the Madeline Baker book, and I was, like, looking, and I'm like, am I looking for racist wine? That's messed up. So, what I did is I didn't actually pick this on purpose for the title. I picked it because it was in the other whites section. So, which is, like, that's the problem, right? Like, fucking other white people. But then I got, it's Noble Vines, so a noble savage. But this is like that, how much I care for that book. This is the house wine at my mother's old folks home, is Noble Vines. Like, so that's what you get, all right? That's what you get, racists.
I got a bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon called Hero and Villain, and I felt like I could get this every time now because it could just be like my fallback because we're always talking about heroes, we're always talking about villains.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a fun one.
But I did not go to Morgan Elliott's because I was like, fuck this, I'm not putting that much of effort. So this is from Publix. Yeah. Not even the Publix with the good wine selection.
Dude, I got mine from the Food Line in 5 Point.
Oh, dude.
They have like a giant, like nice wine section.
You know, people used to call that the shitty kitty.
Yeah, but like they revamped it and like they have like a big ass wine section. So,
because that,
no, I'm telling you,
it's where all the college students go.
Well, I think now because like they put in all like the apartments and stuff, you know, like it's fancier. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
the shitty kitty's gone upscale.
Yeah. Okay, so Kathleen Eagle's Carved in Stone.
Well, Kathleen Eagle, I should say, she is not Native American. This is not an Own Voices book, but her husband is Sioux. Her kids are Sioux. She met him like when she was teaching on a reservation. Yeah. So she is not herself Native, but she definitely has a lot of experience with actual, real, live, contemporary Native people. So I was looking at a lot of the descriptions of her books, and they look fantastic. I'm like all about reading some of this stuff.
Oh my god, she's amazing. This
and
book.
On her website, and I have to say that I have like a certain kindness in my heart. She's got, and I hate that they're not bigger pictures.
Yeah.
They went to Deadwood and they took those like those sepia tone novelty photographs, like the Saloon Girl pictures. Yes. It's great, and my thinking is that Saloon Girl Western pictures are the folk art glamour shots.
It's very true.
That's my hot take.
I like it. Okay, so Kathleen Eagle's Carved in Stone. This cover is bananas. This cover does not do the book justice. Like,
this is actually nothing from the book, isn't the cover?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So the cover has a man in Western wear with long hair, sitting in a like army jeep.
It looks like your wine aunt went to Santa Fe, spent a lot of money at some clothing shop, and then bought herself a jeep.
Like his shirt is unbuttoned to his waist. The other thing that is cracking me the fuck up about it is like his face. Like it looks like he tried to do contrasting and he didn't know how to like. He didn't put his like when you put when you put your concealer under your eyes, like it's still like his concealer is really bright. And it looks, again, like a wine aunt, but it also has, like, Catherine Keener vibes. Like, I'm getting heavy Catherine Keener from
I had not actually noticed the concealer thing, but it's very true.
Yeah, like...
He also has, like, this weird, like, 5 o'clock shadow.
It's, like, very...
Which is funny because, like, the character in the book, A, doesn't have long hair, and B, talks about how he rarely has to shave because he's actually Native American.
Yeah. So...
There is another cover for this.
The other cover is more... It's boring, but it's, like, more...
It's what's in the book, but it's boring and it's weird. This is actually, it's from a series, and it's Western Lovers.
Ranch Rogues.
And there's like a list, and it's hilarious, of all the books in the different Western Lovers lines.
Yeah.
And they are, like, let me...
Ranchin' Dads.
Yeah.
We've got Hitched in Haste. Hitched in Haste series has a marriage of convenience, Where Angels Fear, Inheritance. Ranchin' Dads has the books Rancher Wife, His and Hers, The Best Things in Life.
I could read a Ranchin' Dad.
Oh my god, Ranchin' Dad. Ranch Rogues, Betrayed by Love, Blue Sage, Chase the Clouds, Mustang Man. Jesus, I want to read Mustang Man right now. A Carved in Stone. Denim and Diamonds.
Ooh.
So again, this is part of the Silhouette books.
I'm assuming Diamond and Diamonds is just about being on like the Western pleasure. Like, okay, I just realized that you don't know what Western pleasure means. In horseback riding, Like the people who do like that kind of like the nipped-in Wranglers with the really elaborate chaps and the super fancy cowboy hats and stuff. That's Western pleasure. Yeah. And so, never mind. If you didn't know that sounded pornier than I meant.
So this was the book was published in 1987. All right. So our back description. Last action hero. Sky Hunter was no silver screen stereotype of an American Indian. He was the real thing, full-blooded Sioux, and as rugged as the Rocky Mountains he called home. Years of playing cowboys and Indians in Tinseltown had left him aching for his land, for the feel of the earth between his fingers and open sky overhead. One look at Wyoming newcomer Elena Delacourt, and Sky knew he'd found the only woman for him. She'd come to research the native culture, and Sky was more than happy to act as her guide. Only his lessons had nothing to do with nature and everything to do with love.
Yeah.
This book, y'all, this book is amazing.
And it is about a contemporary people,
right.
Which I think, was kind of what we were talking about.
So, okay. The book starts with, again, Sky Hunter you get the feeling that he's kind of this guy that plays, like he's a character actor. He's just, whenever you need a Native American in a movie, he's that guy.
He's getting thrown out of bars all day long.
Yeah, like
we don't serve your kind here.
Yeah, like he's like, he's like the West Studi, you know? Yeah. Like he's always, if you need a Native American, you're calling up Sky Hunter.
And frankly, that's better than most movies, because most movies just take like a dude who's like either Italian or whatever, and he plays every vaguely brown person in a script. So all right, good on y'all for actually hiring a Sioux person.
So Sky Hunter is back home in Wyoming after leaving, like he needed a break from Hollywood. He's ready to do more things, like he's an actor. Yeah. He's a serious actor.
He wants to stretch his skills. Yeah. I mean, like, he is tired of having all, like, well, most actors, like, he is, like, an actor struggling to break out, like most young actors, but also he has the added thing that he only gets called in for these roles about his ethnicity.
Yeah, so he goes back home to Wyoming, and he's at this bar, and that's where this woman, Elena Delacourt, is. Mm-hmm. And she's waiting. She is a Native American romance novelist.
Yes.
Oh my God. I love this. I love Kathleen Eagle. It's so fantastic. So she's waiting to be picked up by this ranch. She's going to do research on Native peoples, and she's going to go on this like long hiking.
She's a dude. It's a dude ranch.
Yeah, horseback riding excursion.
So, should I mention at this point that I have seriously looked into doing this horse packing class from the National Outdoor Leadership Lab, where
I don't think you have to mention it. I think everybody knows, who is listening to this knows that would be a thing that you would do.
It sounds like so awesome.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so she is at the bar waiting to be picked up, and our boy Sky sees her, and is just like, "Hey, girl, you want to dance?" And she's like, "There's like." The music being played is just like honky tonk.
Oh my God, and it's amazing.
So they both pick a song, and they both pick Elvis. Mm-hmm. They love Elvis, so they're dancing. And this drunk guy is like, I don't want to listen to this shit.
I should point out, this is not the kind of bar that you dance at. There's not a dance floor. It's like that shitty, those weird cinder block bars that you pass, like you're out in the country on your way from one crappy town to another crappy town, and you're like, is that place open?
Yeah. So she's at one of those.
It's like one of those.
And so this guy, like, they're dancing because you're going to dance with Sky Hunter because Jesus Christ.
If he asks you to dance, you're going to dance.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So they're dancing. My favorite part of the book is this drunk guy who's like, I don't want to listen to this. He's like, I want to listen to Don't Come Home a Drinking, and I'm going to hire a wino to decorate our home. Which
is a real song.
I thought that was some made up shit.
I did too.
And then, I was like, holy hell.
Because I love Don't Come Home a Drinking with Love It on Your Mind. Yeah. That is a fantastic song. But I thought this other one is a real song.
It's a real song. So me and Sarah had a whole conversation about insane country song titles, and we're going to make a playlist.
It's so weird that with country music, you can't tell always if something is a parody or not. Okay, so You Never Call Me By My Name. Is that a parody song because it has a parody verse? I can't tell.
I think it is. I don't know.
And some of them are more like acid satire, like Kitty Wells singing about it wasn't God who made Honky Tonk Angels in response, to thank God for Honky Tonk Angels, which is absolutely about a go fuck yourself song. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's so much great stuff. I should confess, my aunt and uncle had a VHS cassette of Ray Stevens videos
Oh my God.
that they would bring out and we would watch when we were down there in Hawkinsville, Georgia.
Dude, I used to think that Ray Stevens was like comedy gold.
Boogity boogity.
I thought that shit was so funny. So, my grandmother had 2 tapes in her car. She had the Magic Flute of Xanfir, and she had Ronnie Millsap's. So, we'd always listen to Ronnie Millsap, and I was really young, and we listened to There's a Stranger in My House. And I took it literally, and I thought that was the most terrifying song, because it's all about a stranger in your house. So, all right, before we get going, we're going to make a great like Spotify playlist of all these songs that you can find on our website.
So we'll put on the streak, but we will not put on any like fucking racist songs by Ray Stevens, because now we know better.
I guess I should say, like, the nice thing, like, okay, so Sky just looks like a guy. Like, I mean, he's obviously rangy and fucking attractive as shit, but like he doesn't have the long Native American hair.
I assume they must have put him in wigs for his roles, because he does not have long hair.
She said it was like,
even though it's on the cover,
it was like a little like unfound, like he had, I feel like the little duck tail, like it was a little shaggy, but like it was short hair. She's, you know, your typical blonde, hot, whatever.
But he is hot. But anyway, he's like, oh, I bet they forgot, because he knows these people who she's supposed to be dude ranching with. Which reminds me, oh my God, how much did you love Hey Dude as a kid? A lot. But I'm going to go back to the story. They're going to forget. They're not going to bring you because like they would have been here already. He probably whatever. Yeah. So I'll take you out there. And this dude is
my Corvette.
He is so fucking hot that she gets in the car with a stranger.
Yeah.
Who immediately, by the way, like this, so they're making jokes back and forth about him and his roles and all. And he's like, I'm going to stick you out for the red ant. And then he makes a rape joke.
Yeah.
And that's the one sour note in here.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you have just met this woman, you are taking her to, as far as she knows, the second location.
It's like 45 minutes away, too.
It's dark as hell, it's in the mountains, don't make a fucking rape joke. Yeah, not cool. Tuck and roll, bitch. Tuck and roll. Get out of there. Don't go to the second location.
Yeah, the entire book he is making jokes. Like, he is straight up jokes.
But some of it is like when they come from a place of pain.
So she gets to the ranch.
We can heal him.
She gets to the ranch. He drops her off, like, she's got her cowboy boots. She's ready to go. The next morning, she wakes up, and he's there. He's decided he used to work at this ranch, like, during the summer, and was one of the guides. And I guess he sees her and is like, okay, that's a bit of me. Like,
I gotta clear my head, is what he says.
Yeah, but he's obviously there to get it in. So he's gonna be one of the guides.
Mm-hmm. So they lost one, I think. Like, one of them got hurt.
So they're waiting around, like, they're going to get started the next day. They're going to start the next day. And what they're doing is, like, doing this whole, like, horse riding excursion to, like, various points in the Rocky Mountains.
Horse packing,
yeah. So the next day, Sky's, agent shows up and he's like, hey, I got a deal for you.
He's like this very New York, whatever you're picturing as an actor's agent, that's this guy. Like, his lapels are too wide.
He's like, I got a part for you. You're going to be this, you're going to play
an engine with a J.
All right, you're going to play an engine, but it's a good deal. And Sky's like, fuck that, I don't want to do it. So they go out on the trail,
and he goes along. Like
no, he shows up later. Like they're having we
didn't take notes on this.
Okay, so they're riding. It's Elena. It's like a newlywed couple, then a family, and they're all riding. They get to like their first stop. They're unpacking. Sky is being flirty as shit. Like, again, just cracking jokes the whole time. He is laying it down for her. Like, he found one of her books.
Oh, yeah.
He found one of her books, and I think the character's name, like, the character in the book is called, like, Swift Horse.
But he keeps on calling him Fast Horse because he's making fun of all this shit.
So he's, like, the whole time, he's, like, kind of gently, like, deriding her, and
the funny thing that I thought that he does, she's from, her people from, like, Norway or something?
Yeah.
So every time, like, that she's trying to get information because she's doing research.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you eat, I forget what it's called, but it's made out of, like,
fish
buffalo
eyes
intestines.
And,
and he's like, how's the lutefisk? And, like, he won't let up on it. And she's like, she gets it, but she doesn't 1,000% get it. That, like, her asking him that is the exact same thing as her, like, acting like he assumes that she eats lutefisk.
Right. Okay, so they've set up camp. They're hanging out. They're telling stories, like they're about to like start telling stories, and then the fucking manager shows up like on a horse falling off.
Right, yeah.
And he's like, hey guy, this deal, you got to do the deal, and
because he would have quit if it had happened before that. Yeah.
And so like Sky's just irritated. So in the dead ass of night, like he crawls into Elena's tent. He like covers her mouth. He's like, shh. And he's like, I'm running the fuck away. Do you want to run away too?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, because your big dick energy is off the fucking charts. Like, this man's dick hit me in the face. It hit me in the face.
He hasn't just taken her to a second location. He's taking her to a third location, and she's like, okay, I'll get my shit.
Oh my God. So like she packs up their stuff. They like take 2-3 horses. And
the amount of stuff that they take is amazing, by the way. They take eggs. They take like all this. It is
my God.
As somebody who is trying to like pare down her backpacking kit, it was like cast iron skillets.
Well, because they had the pack horse too.
Yeah, they had the pack horse.
So because they had their 2 horses and they had a pack horse, so they go on the run. There's like a lame chase, like because like once they realize where they are,
I'm responsible for this fucking person.
So like they're in one valley and you'll see the other people.
They
like,
left a note,
looking in like another valley, like hello.
And we should say that these people who run this are like super nice.
Yeah,
and they're portrayed as the sweetest people. It's a family. It's a super family business. So it is a little shitty what they did.
Well, one guy finally does reach. I think like one guy reaches up with him and he's like, "Hey man,
come on."
Yeah,
you're not blocking me, dude.
Yeah, and he's like, I just don't want to be around my agent. And the guy's like, cool, I get it. Like,
I'll take care of her. Like, I understand. Like, she paid. I'm gonna show her some special spots.
Yeah.
It's like that. But yet, on the other hand, it is a little dick move to these.
Oh my God,
these nice people.
They're having a nice time. They're riding around. They're camping.
He's gonna show her a lake.
He's gonna fish. Mm-hmm. They're having cute, flirty banter. Like,
it's so cute, y'all.
He is bringing it. Like this is the most charming motherfucker. Yes. Like, and I guess we'll get into this with questions, but like, he is the most charming man ever. So they get to this lake, and they have this campsite, and he's all, I'm gonna take a lake bath. You want to take a lake bath? Kind of. So they have skinny dipping time.
And I had to say, okay, I am from South Carolina, and I don't care how big your dick energy is. I am not getting in water that's less than 86 degrees.
Yeah, no.
No.
So, but they get...
that part was not like, oh my God, this sounds terrible.
They have, like... They're in the lake. They have, like, the build-up. It's super fucking hot.
Oh, my God.
Dude, like, because, again, his big dick energy is insane.
I was there for this. Oh, my God.
He is, like, he knows what to do. And then, like, so she writes it, like, you have, like, this beginning that's really hot, and then it's just, like, and then there's sex. And I was like,
it's like somebody rips out a page.
Yeah, I was like, there's something missing. So they have
You know what? It occurs to me. I'm not sure. We'll have to read another one of hers.
Yeah.
That may have been like the thing about this particular series, because there was a lot of stuff in there that I thought was really kind of choppy, because obviously these silhouette books have a length requirement. Yeah. I wonder if maybe these particular books don't have explicit
Dear
sets.
Kathleen Eagle, could you please give me the unedited version of Sky Hunter getting it in?
Yes.
All right. So they do it the next morning. He has, like, the I'm a Hollywood bad boy freak out. Like, he's like, I'm not good enough for, because he'd been an alcoholic.
And he's thinking about it both ways, that he's like, oh, I want to just, like, touch her and love on her.
Yeah.
But, and like, so he does that fucking romance novel guy thing.
He's like, let's go back. And she's like, meh. And
he's like, I'm just going to fish. If you hang around here, you're going to fuck up the fish. Bitch, get. I mean, like, he
dismisses her. Like,
they all do that. Like, they had to introduce this conflict.
She's like trying to naked sunbathe on a rock to be like, hey, she's really trying, and he's like,
no, he sneaks up and he watches her naked sunbathe, but then he pretends like he did.
Yearning is happening. So again, he's like,
and she gets sunburned.
He's like, we need to head back. He's like, we need to go back, and she's very sad, very disappointed.
Because he does that distancing thing. Yeah.
So they're heading back.
But they're still doing it all the time, by the way.
They haven't done it yet, because they're on their way back. They're on their way back, and then basically the Top Gun flyby scene happens. There's like somebody in a fucking plane that just buzzes the horses.
This is not how I thought this book was going to go. Like, it was like out of nowhere.
They're like on this narrow path.
It's like Donald Trump Jr. is in a plane.
This plane just like like, legit, like, buzzes him. The horses freak out. He sees her, and he's like, oh, God, she's going to get hurt. So he's, like, going to try to rescue her. He falls off a fucking mountain.
Yes, he does. She thinks he's dead.
He tries to hit it and quit it.
Yeah.
And he falls off a mountain.
That's what you get.
So he falls off, like, he does that thing where, like, he falls, like, 20, 30 feet, and he's, like, lands on a cliff.
Yeah,
like
he's on that ledge,
the ledge overhang. And so...
At least he's not hanging to the bush.
So our girl, Elena, is, like, resourceful as shit. Like, she goes from being just a city girl to being like, I got this. She's like,
she grabs the other horse. Like, they only have the pack horse, but she makes sure that horse doesn't go.
She keeps the pack horse, and she's like, can you stand? And he's like, I can't stand. She's like, so she, like, lowers the rope down, like, creates a thing, and, like, uses the pack horse to pull him up.
She's got some sense on her. But he is, like, he gets, like, roughed up. I mean, he's like, because he's not a romance novel injury.
He's getting, like, scraped up the side of the mountain, and then, like, when he gets up there, his leg is broken.
Well, it's his ankle, which is funny because, like, you would think in a romance novel it would be his leg, but actually your ankle will fuck you the fuck up.
Yeah, so his ankle's broken, so she puts his ass on the horse, and they, like, start going down.
He wants them to both get on the horse,
but
the horse is like,
He's like, I'm just a back horse. Like,
and they have to go through their stuff. I mean, all of a sudden, shit just got real.
Yes!
This is what happens when you go to the third location, people.
So, she puts him on the horse. They, like, pare things down. They're, like, doing stuff. They're going. They're going to get back. And then, like, the rains come in. So, they find this cave. She ties up the horse. The horse is kind of the MVP. Like, this horse. She finds this cave, puts him in the cave. Like, she's traversing this narrow path, trying to do stuff.
And she's terrified. But she's getting it done.
She is getting it
there
done.
In the clutch.
So, gets in the tent. She finds a bottle of Everclear that basically she's like, drink this. And he's like, I'm former alcoholic. I can't drink. She's like, your fucking leg's broken or your ankle's broken. Drink this.
And exactly one shot in, he turns into an asshole.
Well, he's just like, I mean, he's in a lot of pain. She's like setting up stuff for him. They hang out, they talk, they do it. Like, they have, like, wounded sex.
Okay, and let me say, my first response to that was, are you fucking kidding me? And then I remember, so I had a friend who got his ankle broken, and that's how I kind of know that it will fuck you up in a car wreck. And his mom asked me if I would go and sit with him, because he was...
And then you fucked him?
No, I did not fuck him. At all, whatsoever. I get there at 5 in the morning, whenever his mom had to go to work, and I brought a book and everything, and like it was like 9 or whatever, and I'm like, I wonder if he's awake. I wonder if he like, if he wants something to drink, whatever.
Did you walk in on fucking somebody?
No, I walked in on him and his girlfriend asleep.
Oh,
but they had totally and I'm like, Here's the thing, like, so drugged up and all, but he like, he is such a fucking horn dog.
Here's the thing, though, man. Like, if you're about to die, like, if you're gonna possibly die, I'm gonna get it in with Sky Hunter as much as I can. Like,
but it's Sky Hunter who about to die.
That's what I'm saying. But like, no, she's stuck on the mountain.
Your last chance ever.
It's very harrowing, So like, they're in the cave. They're in the cave for like a few days. She's making splints. Like, this bitch is doing it.
She's got the horse hobbled, like further down the trail where there was some grass, and it's very fraught. I will say,
like, an interesting, like, one of the interesting things that I noticed is, like, in the first, like, they're first doing it, and then, like, all the subsequent doing it. Like, Sky's like, let me grab a condom. But they have one. They have one doing it where he's like, "Let me put a baby in you," and I was like, "Whoa!" So
it is actually sexually responsible, like, until it's not. But then again, I guess, like, you're about to die on this mountain. Nobody knows where they are.
Yeah.
Nobody's expecting them for days.
Oh my God, it was crazy. So okay, the rain stopped. They fucked it out a bunch. The horse has disappeared. The horse got loose.
They see the horse walk by at one point.
Bye, y'all.
Like, oh, crap. Because she's afraid that she didn't hobble. It doesn't matter why.
So,
they lose the horse.
Our girl Elena is like, he's like, you gotta go on without me. She's like, fuck that. She's like, I'm gonna make, just basically, like, a sling, and, like, I'm gonna drag your ass.
Well, I think he was on her shoulder. Yeah. Like, they were limping together for a while, and then she does the thing, they see a moose, and she does what I would do. So I kind of love it that she was like, oh my God, and she like goes to like go look at the moose and pet the moose, and he's like, Oh, Jesus fuck! A moose is a big scary animal,
Yeah.
and so he like jumps in between her and a moose, and he
On
makes
his,
it
like, he fucks his foot up worse.
Yeah, so then he cannot hobble it anymore. So yeah, she has to like make a sledge.
Yeah, she makes a sledge
out of like
and, like,
bowels and stuff.
Drags his ass down. But it's the fucking pack horse that saves the goddamn day because like the pack horse had made it back to the ranch, and they're like,
oh shit,
we found the pack horse. So he ends up getting rescued. She's like, I'm fine, even though she's got like rope burn and like all this kind of stuff. You know, he's got that whole like wounded male pride. And in the book, the whole time, he keeps making jokes about, like, Indian gods and Indian braves. And, like, he keeps joking, like, it's the reverse. Like, you know, you're the one who's supposed to be wounded, and I'm supposed to be protecting you.
The whole book, they're just talking about stereotypes.
It's really fucking clever.
Good.
It's so clever. And we'll get to that with questions. So, they get rescued. They go to the hospital.
But he's, like, really hurt, which I appreciate. It's not one of those, like, fucking romance novel flesh wounds.
He's like, they're in the hospital.
He might never walk right again.
Right. They're in the hospital. He's got, again, a lot of wounded male pride. And they're talking...
And his fucking agent's there. Because, like,
the fucking agent. And he's just like... Again, they talk a lot about, like, who you want to be. And she's, you know... What do you want to do? And he's like, I don't know. And... They have, like, the dumb romance novel, like, break. But the thing that, like, really hits home with her is that... Because he's always kind of playing a character. Like, playing a version of himself. And so, like, she finds out, like, when his dad comes in, he's like, Danny. And she's like, who the fuck is Danny? And, like, his name is Dan Sky Hunter.
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, really jars her that, like... He was this kind of version of himself.
And the thing is, he's always afraid that he doesn't know how to be anything but a version. I mean, like, the whole thing is so good, y'all. I mean, seriously.
Oh my God.
It's about people's real, honest to goodness, like... Now, I mean, that romance novel shit where he wakes up in the morning and is a dick. I mean, I think that was kind of fakey fake. The rest of it, though, it is, like, real people's real struggles, like, the way that actual people... truly struggle with things in real life, and I liked it so fucking much.
Oh my God. So she leaves the hospital and goes back to...
Like, without a word, because people who leave in romance novels don't, like, say anything.
I think she lives in, like, fucking Phoenix.
Minneapolis?
All right.
Yeah, and that's where the author lives, actually.
Yeah.
So that's why.
So, and I feel like, well, again, we'll get into this later. So she goes back, and, like, it's been, like, almost a month or so. Yeah. And he shows up, and he's in a suit. And he calls it his suitor suit. Again, the joke. So he uses one of her romance novels as a way to, like, propose to her. But I have to, like, let me see if I can see it.
But she's in her, like, my nightgown, which
like
I deeply appreciate.
What she calls her work clothes because she's writing. So, like, she's, like, in a nightgown. She's got her hair, like, put up, you know. So he shows up in the suit, and he's got one of her romance novels, and he uses it, like... He pointed to the middle of the page. You read Tanya and I'll be Dirk. I've got it memorized. You would, she said, submitting reluctantly. He pointed again. Go ahead, start right here. Elena sighed and found the spot. I won't let you dictate terms, Dirk. Sky, he corrected. Dirk is a terrible name. She tried not to smile. I won't let you dictate terms, Sky. You keep telling me what you want, but you never hear what I want. And it continues on. Like, he uses her romance novel to propose to her.
So, yeah, I mean, and because he's not actually making fun of her. He's saying, don't do these stereotypes. Yeah. But he has clearly read her work. He takes her seriously. Oh, my God.
And she's like, can we have a long engagement so we can get to know each other?
Because really, we only met each other for 3 days. Yeah. And half of that was you, like, with your leg in a sling fucking me.
God.
It's not a condom.
And, like, also, like, in Hollywood, you get the idea that he's, like, moderately successful. It sounds like he's got a big fucking house. Because at one point, he was super drunk. And he talked about, like, being a zombie, being a ghost, and, like, breaking all the glass, like, mirrors and stuff in his house. So you get a feeling like he's got one of those 80s.
But like, he's grown as a person now. And so what he's going to do is he turned down that role that his agent wanted to be. Yeah. He got a new agent. And he is working with a Native American filmmaker.
Yes.
It doesn't pay much. I assume it pays, like, scale. Yeah. But it's a role that he really cares about. Like, oh, my God.
So this book... Yeah, so it ends with them, like, together, and he does that adorable thing using her book to propose, and everything. Yeah, she's like, there's another part where she's like, it may take some time, I want to know Dan Sky Hunter, And he's like, I can't promise you'll like everything you get to know about him. Like,
because let's just go ahead and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So our questions: big dick energy or big dick energy?
This dude has, for me, the biggest dick energy out of anybody that we've read.
To me, he is still like dick sword fighting it out with Chase from Night Song. Although that might be unfair because Night Song is a little bit out of our normal time thing.
I love this dude so much.
I love him a lot. Oh my god,
he has got the best. Like he is hands down. He's got the most for me. Like he has the most fleshed out personality of any of our guys that we've ever read. He's the funniest.
And he has work to do on himself. So that's the thing. Like, he is not... See, like, Matt from The Hood. Well, he had already done his work on himself.
The Hood was, like, focused on her shit. Like,
because he was too perfect.
Yeah.
This is a guy who really has to figure his own shit out.
He's sort of, like, tied... Matt Cutter's still a little bit higher, like, for me, boyfriend-wise. But the only reason is because my girl Kathleen didn't let me get... to read about him getting it in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it in. Like, I get these hot, like, build-ups, and then it's like, and then they had sex. And I was like, son of a bitch. So, like...
But I did not think about that before we started recording, but I wonder if that was the style guide for the line.
Oh, my God.
We're going to find out, because we're going to read another Kathleen Eagle, I promise you.
So
I love
like, I might
so
just
much.
have them to have them. Like, she... is so witty and like the stuff that she does with stereotypes, again we'll get into that in a second. It's so good,
but it's like kind of the way that people actually talk.
Yeah.
What I loved about him though is that he had a real struggle that was like a genuine one that made sense, is that he, who is an actor, is like, am I always acting? And like, when I'm with women, I know sometimes I'm definitely acting. And of course on screen I'm definitely acting. Well, so like, how do I tell what is truly like, me as a person?
They sleep together and then like they're in the tent together and he's like, this is new. Like usually they just leave, you know. Yeah. And I think it's like a lot of him second guessing himself. And then also like dealing with the alcohol. Like again, he's like a recovering alcoholic and he's like, I'm drinking this Everclear shit, like fuck, does this make me a failure kind of thing.
He's such a real person. Oh, like, God. A lot. But like he uses the humor often as armor, which I completely get as a person. But don't say a rape joke to somebody you're taking already to the second location. Yes, okay, just don't do that.
But then I think he also, like, later on, he does, like, walk it back and he's like, maybe I shouldn't have said that shit because you don't know me. Like, there is a part where he does that.
It was so, oh my God, you guys, just read this one, okay? Just fucking read it. It's not a popular book because there weren't a lot of places to get it.
I feel like, too, and I guess, I don't even know where we would put this with the questions. Like, I feel like, because you, like, when you read Kathleen and Eagle's story, I feel like this was kind of like a love letter to her husband, because I feel like it was very much their story, because like you know, it's a romance writer and it's a cowboy, and like she talks about meeting her, you know, Native American cowboy, and so you know, like, is he this person that's kind of like, well, you write Native American romance novels, you know, like, so I felt her very present in this book, like, more so than anybody else.
Her voice was very much there. Yeah, I liked it. There's one that I really want to read, and she wrote it after she and her husband toured it had been a, which one? The red or the white? Just
Let's go red.
Okay. We can say that we're drinking. That's part of the podcast. They had toured what had been an insane asylum for Native Americans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so she wrote this book about a guy returning from a war who had PTSD who was put in a place like that. And I want to read that one real fucking bad. You know, so that just sounds like really cool. Really cool. So I am completely here for Kathleen Eagle. Yes. And I wonder if all of her druids had this kind of big dick energy. I don't know if maybe you shouldn't put them together on your bookshelf, because maybe like together
they're just gonna break the bookshelf.
Yeah. They'll just be like
they're gonna get like the Twilight next to it pregnant, you know. Yes. Okay, would you talk shit with or about the heroine?
I liked her a lot. She did not have as much personality as the man did.
Yeah, I liked her a lot. I think she was very capable. I liked that about her. I liked that
she was willing to learn.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that happens in there that we don't really talk about that I think is interesting that we because again, we made no notes for this fucking book. So she had gotten pregnant at 17.
Very young.
And didn't want to have a child out of wedlock, like, got married, and then she had a miscarriage. And I don't think she'd ever, like, it seemed like she had never had sex after that.
No, because she was almost like, I don't want to say the word re-virgined, which happens in some of these romance novels, that they kind of had this, like,
right.
But yeah, like that, they had both
so she's
had
got her own
baggage.
trauma.
I honestly think this book is quite short because it is a silhouette book. If it had been longer, I feel like they would have given her more room.
Yeah, but she's very capable. Like, she's making jokes, too. Like, she kind of plays off of him. I remember this one time she was, like, talking, like, they're in the hospital or something, and he's like, I'm okay, and she's like, honest engine. And, like, it was really cute. Like, I didn't take it as, like, being offensive at all.
No, there's nothing offensive in this book.
It was really cute.
I appreciate a woman whose, like, response to that romance novel, Dude, Fuck You Distance, is to go and take all of her clothes off and lay on a rock and be like, yeah, what do you think about this, bitch nuts?
I mean, she was very, like, she never, like,
Here it is.
She like, there was never, like, a freak out. She was like, I just got to get this shit done. And I liked that about her. Like, I feel like...
I do have to worry about this outfitting company that gives nobody any kind of emergency beacon. I mean, like, there's no... Then again, it's the 80s.
But again, like, he also just, like, ran off.
Yeah, they did.
Like, if they say with the group, when the Top Gun flyby happens, maybe there would have been a beacon.
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
I mean, it's straight up a Top Gun flyby. Like,
I was thinking it was... No, that's not what I was imagining. I was imagining, like, some rich dick face in a Cessna. Like, literally, I am picturing Eric
Harrison Ford and his plane. Just
Harrison Ford is going to come rescue you in his helicopter because he literally... Well, does he still do that?
Well, he's had, like, 15 plane crashes.
Well, that happens.
Like, so many, but I mean, like, if you think about it, like, I mean, John Denver had one.
Well, then he wasn't very good at it.
So.
Damn. I mean,
Oh my God. So.
I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody involved in that joke of mine.
I liked her a lot.
I did too. I think I wanted this book to be longer, and that is rare for the books that we fucking read, y'all.
I know.
If it had been even 100 pages longer, I feel like she would have been
such a fucking delight. Like, it was such a delight.
Yeah, it was candy, and we haven't read one that we really loved in a long time.
I know. I really love this one.
Yeah. So, are the women in this Virginia Woolf or Phyllis Schlafly? There's not a room, because it's a silhouette, for a lot of female relationships, but what I really did like about the people, and I guess we can talk about this later in our racism question, at the back of the ranch, back of the ranch, it's one of those things, and you get this in so many Western, like contemporary Western romances, you get the friendly ranch people.
Yeah.
But, like, so there's, like, a mom figure, and she's, like, instantly like, oh my God, can you be my mommy?
Yeah, but I think also, like, the woman was like, oh my God, you're a writer. Like, I think, again, this book is more like it's one of those, like, capsule things where you have to keep two people in an extreme situation in close proximity, so you don't have room for other relationships. But I think if there had been female relationships, they would have been great.
Yes.
And, like, they would not have been toxic. You would not have had...
There was a bit with the people of that background.
Yeah, you would not have had a dark-haired girl looking at her, like, wanting to fight her. So...
I was surprised by the perilous relationship, the perilous situation, because, like, I was like, okay, well, they're going to go and they're going to have, I thought that the conflict in this was going to be emotional and relationship-wise, instead of, like,
him falling off a fucking mountain.
He could have fucking died.
Fell off a guy.
It got so extreme. Like, oh my God.
It was amazing.
It just kind of, well, you know me, it made me want to go to Wyoming.
Oh, so good. Okay, when it comes to consent, is this book more Robin Thicke or Marvin Gaye?
Very Marvin Gaye.
Like his...
and she was like, even do you have? And he's like, yeah, I have a condom. Yeah.
Like, if his big dick energy had a soundtrack, it would be Marvin Gaye.
Oh,
like, it's that big dick energy. Like, it's so...
Can you even meaningfully consent if you have that much BDE going on?
Jesus.
Like, could she have said no in any universe whatsoever?
Like, I was about to have sex with him. I was like, how do I have sex with a man in a book? Like, let me think.
It's like the Page Master, but for you.
I was like, let me get a team on it. Like, I need scientists. I need a magician. Like, find out how I can actually, like, transmorph into this book and have sex with this man, because sweet baby Jesus. Like,
yeah, I liked him a lot.
Y'all, this guy was the best. So, yes, and, like, their sex is 1,000,000% consensual. Like, he is like, you good with this?
And she's like, do you have a condom? And he
He's
says,
like,
yes, I do. Let me go get it. And they, yes.
Yeah, like, I mean, the only one...
For the 80s, that is
the only
huge.
one that could be marginally questionable is, like, when he's, like, drunk as shit on Everclear.
Like,
and
she kind of jumps him. Like,
when he's like, let me put a baby in you. You know, like, but even still, like...
wait, we did not discuss this. I have a binder about this.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The only thing it was missing is whoever ripped out those specific pages for us that had all the fucking doing it.
Oh my God, I needed like hip thrusts. I needed all of it. Like, all you really got was like, and even the way she wrote it was like boob touching, like some making out, like some caressing.
Boob touching and
it was good boob touching.
Well, let's move it up. Would your 12-year-old self the dog animated pages? The boob touching and I would absolutely have, because all the stuff in the lake was
really hot. It was really
boob
hot.
touching, the making out, the
I thought
on the rib page, like that.
I thought they were gonna do it in the lake, but
I couldn't keep forgetting the fact that lake is cold as fucking shit.
I had to say, like, so my husband's family is from upstate New York, and like, he's one of those people that when we talk about New York, we have to understand that there's different regions. Like, don't be like Western New York is upstate New York. He's from the Albany area. And about an hour north of there is a place called Lake George. And Lake George is very touristy. It's kind of like, if you think about like Dirty Dancing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, there's like, it's cabins, it's...
like the Lake Placid sort of...
Yeah, it's a little bit
related to Melville Dewey. Never mind. I won't do it.
I mean, I can, we talk like Placid too. So, okay, so we went this summer to Lake George for a long weekend with like the entire family. And
I ain't getting in that shit in July.
Dude, I did. Like, I did it.
Ooh.
And it was the coldest water I've ever gotten into is, I have a really good friend from Sweden, and
I will point out that we did talk about getting in cold water in our Dark Shadows episode for like 20 minutes, so let's not.
Okay. So
we're gonna talk about this, but don't go crazy.
No, but the coldest I've ever been, Sweden, there's like just like 3-year-olds jumping in the North Sea, and I was like, well, I can do this. And I jumped in it, and it was terrible.
Whoa.
But Lake George, really cold, but it's one of those things that once you're in it, like, you gotta give yourself like give yourself a good 5 minutes. Because they had one of those where you swim out to a floating dock.
Mm-mm. Anyway, floating docks remind me of that Stephen King story. I forget what it's called, but no.
Yeah.
Also no. Additionally, no. You know what I think is really great water to swim in? You know when it gets dark and you get in a swimming pool, and this is only for you people in the South. The swimming pool is like 95 degrees, but the weather outside has been 110 all day.
Yeah.
And then it gets dark, and you get in that swimming pool, and it's like bath water. Took a bath. That is the kind of water I like to swim in.
I could just tell you, like, I would be, if we ever got a pool, and Christopher and I have talked about it, like, I'd be the naked in the pool person all the time.
Do it. Just do it.
But I'm saying I would have totally gotten into the Montana lake. Like, I would have done it. Because, like, I feel like if you're there, you got to do it. Anyway.
I would put my toe in, but I would not have had the guts to.
Oh, my God.
No.
Yeah.
So I guess I would have, like, missed fucking Sky Hunter.
Yeah, you're not fucking Sky Hunter then, because you're not.
I'd be like, we're going to fuck over here on this bed of leaves that I just made us. Like, if you go to this,
you're afraid to, like,
it's
get your
special.
feet wet.
And it's full of chiggers. It's like, that's the catch. Like, there's chiggers in the leaf pile, but the lake had no chiggers, and therefore, you know, whatever. So, how badly are you judging your mom off of reading this book? Not even a little bit. I would have been so proud of her. Because this book is actually, I mean, it really is about the stuff that we were talking about.
All right. So,
which is about this.
Would Scarlett Johansson be in the movie? No, because Kathleen Eagle would not allow it.
I feel like they would have lied to Scarlett Johansson. Like, so guys, which movie you making? And they'd be like, you wouldn't be interested. It's a movie about, like, blood, sausage, and also cheese that smells real bad.
So this book is, getting into race, and especially on top of, like, all the stuff that we talked about earlier. I know that Kathleen Eagle is a white lady, but here is my take on this book. The book that the first book that we read, the Madeleine Baker one, that is a native, like, that is, and I'm using air quotes, that is an Indian romance book. This book is a romance novel that happens to be about a Native American. This book deals with race so well and so cleverly that
I want to use it as a masterclass.
Yeah, like what she does, like the whole premise of setting up this romance novelist who writes Native American romance. against this guy who is a Native American, and him just like gently deriding her the whole time about
Would Fast Horse have done that?
Yeah, like, and you know, again, he'd be like, well, I'm your Indian guide. I'm your friendly Indian guide.
My only complaint is that it could have been longer.
Yeah.
And it has, like, put more attention to that.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally my only complaint about
There's
this.
a part where she's like, well, there's a part where she talks about her research, and she's like, well, I've got a database of, like, Native words, like Waisku, which is, like, white person, and, like, you know, he's using things, like, words, and he's talking about, like we talked about with the food, like, oh, we did this, and we used to eat this, like, just, like, making fun of this premise.
And some of it very real. Like, she's like, well, you eat that out of buffalo intestine? And she's like, you can't get buffalo anymore. We eat it out of cow.
Yeah, like, and it's so...
But the best part to me about that was that when they get there, and it's that very family-style place, these people who have this dude ranch, they are not all the same tribe.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because he is Sioux, and of course, many, many, many of these people that you see in these books are Sioux, partly because it's such a well-documented tribe historically, but also because it fits your romantic idea of the horses and the buffalo and everything else. But there are people from several tribes in this family, and they all have, like, you know, and it's the way that people really are, and it is so good, y'all. It is so good.
Can I tell you, though, I think also, this is not part of this, I think people took a lot of Kathleen Eagle shit, because, again, we have Last Action Hero. Think about it. Last Action Hero is okay. There's another part in here, and I had to see when it came out. He is like, feeling no pain means you don't feel anything at all. Zombies, he said solemnly. The world is full of Walking Dead.
Are you suggesting that this book was like that somebody took this
yes, that's exactly
as the pathway for all subsequent pop culture?
Yes. I think that we got Last Action Hero and Walking Dead from
the
it.
Illuminati.
Yes, exactly.
We're like, okay, so what are we going to do for the next 30 years? And they were like, okay, so I got this Kathleen Eagle silhouette book. Yeah. And the guy's like, fine, bring it to my desk.
Yeah, like, he's like, we're going to use this. We're
Write
gonna
it up.
use that.
Write me the notes. Yeah.
No, I mean.
Okay, I'm good with that.
That's exactly
Please,
what
if it had been thus... Please, oh my God, if pop culture for 30 years was taking off of this, shit, dog.
I mean, Walking Dead didn't start until, like, what, the 2000s? So.
Well, the comic book.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The comic book was,
I remember.
like, 2003 or something.
So we went when we were in London on my honeymoon. My husband had lived in England for a couple of years when he was a kid because his dad was in the military. Mm-hmm. And so we went to Forbidden Planet, which is the comic book store that he would like save up to and get to go to in
where
London.
his box was, or was his box at Hidden Planet?
No. Like he would get from like the dime store racks in his own little town. But then like on big days, like they would go to this London, and this London place is more than one story.
Right,
it's fantastic. But when we were there, the Walking Dead people were there signing, and I was like, I came all the way to fucking England. And the Walking Dead people are here. We had to leave before.
I went to Disney World with my mom during soap opera week, and the guy that was Lou Jack was there, and Lou Jack was on Guiding Light, and I called Sarah, and I was like, I'm looking at Lou Jack. So that's my, like,
it is what, story. Like, is it 40 years from Luke and Laura getting married today?
Something like that.
It's and I was like, every time I see that come up in my feed, I'm like, he raped her, you assholes.
It's very upsetting.
My God. But you know what does not happen in this book? Any of that shit.
I know. It's so good.
Oh, my God.
All right.
Where are we? You're not leaving this house dressed like that. That's my other thing. Okay, Courtney might have been rolling her eyes, but like everybody in this wears normal people clothes that are super cute. Actually, she writes very affectingly about how hot long johns can be. Yeah. Which they can be pretty fucking hot, dude. I'm just saying, as long as they're not like the Deadwood style long johns.
Like he's always just in like, he's in those like super distressed jeans that are like worn in all the right places.
And she's wearing like jeans and camp shirts and stuff.
And like she's got her new boots.
And this is an 80s book and nobody wears anything stupid.
No.
They wear the cutest fucking outfits in this book. Like, that's how good this book is. It transcends the 80s.
And they're like, you're going to be sore in those new boots. And she's like, I know.
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean, you should have done better, but...
No, but she's like, I know. She was like, I was looking forward to that. Like...
And I mean, that's part of the experience that she's looking for, because she's looking for, like, she's really trying to learn.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Oh my God.
Our last question is, you've already done that one.
Yeah.
Is what pairs nicely, I can't even call this a dumpster fire. I would know, like, what pairs nicely with Well, it pairs nicely with Kathleen Eagle. Like, I feel this has got to be something rich, dark, and velvet, because this motherfucker is, like, straight up velvet to me.
I feel like it's fizzy. Like, because it was a relief to read this after...
Yeah, I get that. No, because we've had
completely unfraught. Because it's not just that we loved it, because we've loved a lot of books. Like, not all the books, we loved a lot of books. But this book, in this month, you know, and it turned out to be no issues, and it was just beautiful, and it was an anti-issues book. It was like, oh my God.
Just so smart.
It was woke and smart, and these people that I loved, and like I would say it's champagne, but not too sweet, kind of dry, a little bit brute.
It's, to me, it's like a really good bottle. Like, we got a bottle of wine, like, for my birthday or something, that was like called Banshee, and it was like the best smooth red. It's not bitter, you know, like, it's just that smooth.
Well, I hate to say the word tawny in relationship to any of these books, but like a tawny port, like a 10-year tawny port.
I'm not drinking tawny ports, but you know what, you do you.
I don't know that you've had a good tawny port.
It's not my jam.
One of these days, have you had, like, not a red port, a tawny port?
I don't want a port.
You don't want a port?
I don't want a port.
Any port in a storm, y'all.
That's Sarah's new blog. Is any port in a storm.
Sarah staggers back and forth to
any port in a storm. No,
Sarah's out horsepacking.
Oh, you are horsepacking.
Well, the thing about so I've been, like, of course, reading a lot. Of course. Oh my God. Y'all have so many fucking vultures circling around your neighborhood. I've been watching through the window, and I didn't want to say anything because Courtney would say anything about my bird thing. Are you sure your neighbors are okay?
Well, I have one, like, I've got a couple that I'd be fine if, like, the vultures got them, but...
I'm just saying, I mean,
I've
been looking at them.
Like, not my crew, not the people on my, like, strip. Because
if you're listening, not you.
We are a coalition, and I love my neighbors, so...
No, I keep seeing it, well, you know. But so, yeah, I've been looking into getting lighter and lighter with my backpacking rig, because... Okay, stop looking at me like that. But the thing about, like, going ultralight is that there's nothing romantic about it. Like, I'm trying to imagine the romance novel that would be about ultralight backpackers, and it would be the stank-assest...
Nobody's reading that shit.
No, nobody's reading that shit at all whatsoever. And you're like, well, let me go rehydrate these baby wipes. After.
No, that sounds terrible.
Can I borrow your trowel?
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, there's only need for one of us to take a trowel.
That's true.
If we're both going.
I'm not going.
No?
I'm staying here.
It's going to be amazing,
No,
though.
I'm never going ultralight backpacking with you. A hard guarantee that I can give you is that I am never going ultralight backpacking.
But I'll never be ultralight because I do hammocking.
Jesus Christ. All right. So, that has been... Kathleen Eagle's Carved in Stone. It was amazing. I hope that we served this book and, again, this genre well, because I know that it is a very upsetting, not Kathleen Eagle, but, you know, Native American romances. I know it's an upsetting genre for people. So I hope that we served it well, and I hope that we gave it the gravitas that it deserves.
But I would really appreciate if y'all have something that you would like to say about it. Please talk to us. I would really like to get a conversation going. Like, what would it look like to have a good, like, what would a good 19th century romance about a Native American character would look like? I want to know what you think about that. Please let us know. Let's talk.
Yeah,
let's talk.
All right. So again, you can find us on BodiceTipplers.com, Instagram Bodice Tipplers, Twitter Bodice Tipplers.
No, it's B Tipplers on Twitter.
B Tipplers on Twitter. Again, don't forget our Patreon, and
but look at our website, especially for the show notes for this, which will include a fire playlist of funny country songs
and a Courtney essay. Like, Courtney worked hard on this essay.
No. Well, that's going to come out before the episode comes out. That will be its own special thing.
Yeah, but like, we're going to have a playlist. We're going to have information, and we are going to feature. Look out for, like, different books and things that we put on our social media by Native authors.
Yes, it will be fantastic, and we will look forward to seeing you again in December. We've got some fun December stuff.
Yes.
But in the meantime, happy Thanksgiving, and enjoy Thanksgiving however you like to enjoy your Thanksgiving.